welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. I'm uploading a third video tonight, which I rarely ever do, but these stories are coming across my feed, and I kind of want to talk about them. And if I leave them sitting around for long enough, I forget what I wanted to talk about because I'm getting old. So, Rick and Morty is officially dead. I was surfing on the old Twitter, and I came across this post by Adult Swim, and they said, this is from the official Rick and Morty. Adult Swim has ended its association with Justin Roiland. Rick and Morty will continue. The talented and dedicated crew are hard at work on season 7. And I said, wait a minute. Justin Roiland is the voice of both Rick and Morty. So even though they say the show is going to continue on, he's half of the creation team. It's effectively dead. So when I jumped over here and started looking into this, it's the same story that it always is. It's punishment. Well, first it's accusation, then punishment, and then we'll determine if he's innocent or guilty. And this is happening all across the board. But the problem is it's not meted out fairly or equally. I'll read the stories and then we'll talk about the last part of that. Adult Swim dumps Rick and Morty co-creator after household harm charges emerge. They say the Adult Swim cable network has cut ties with Justin Roiland, the co-creator of its popular animated series Rick and Morty, who faces charges related to alleged household harm that only recently became public. He was charged back in 2020. Adult Swim has ended its association, they say, in May 2020. He was charged with one felony count of battery. And for some reason, this word is one of the YouTube triggers. I don't know why, but with corporal injury and one count of false imprisonment by menace, and this is another word that YouTube doesn't like, harm, and fraud and or deceit. He was arrested, released on a $50,000 bond in August 2020, pleaded not guilty. And the attorney, T. Edward Wilburn, a member of Roiland's legal team, told Huffington Post after January 13th, which is just a couple days ago, so I guess this was kind of kept quiet until recently. Not only is Justin innocent, but we have every expectation that this matter is on course to be dismissed once the district attorney office has completed its methodical review of the evidence. So his team's confident enough it's not even going to make it to a trial, that there's just not enough evidence there. Although Roiland does the voices of both Rick and Morty, sources tell Deadline his exit will not affect the show. Of course it will. Of course it will. They said it's in the middle of its 70-episode order, which I guess there were going to be 70 more episodes that they've just ordered, and now you're going to get rid. And look, again, it's half the creative team, but here's the thing. Halfway through a run, when you're I like Rick and Morty. I've always enjoyed a lot of what Adult Swim does because it's got weird and interesting and sometimes pretty crass stuff. But when you're halfway through and you're invested in characters the way they are, I'm sure they're going to do an episode where, I don't know, something happens to his voice or they get changed or it's a duplicate from another universe or whatever, and they're going to change the voices. But people are going to know, and it never really works out that well, unless maybe you're in the first couple of episodes. They say Roiland is also a producer and voice actor on 2 other Hulu shows, Solar Opposites and Koala Man, and I guess he's stepping down from his the video game company that he also runs. I looked into the charges, and basically what it is a woman he was dating who's named Jane Doe basically said that he did some things, he trapped her in a bathroom, and she couldn't get out, and so they laid all these charges on it. But here's my problem with all this stuff is that because of social media and pressure and everything that's going on and about, at least back in the day when something would happen, we'd kind of wait until the court case happened, and then based on the results of that, then, people would get canceled, they get arrested, they get whatever. But now because of this, even if an accusation is false, we're costing men their livelihoods, their ability to make money, and all it takes is one saying one guy did something. And here's some names to keep in mind: Chris Hardwick during the Also Me stuff. Turns out, hey, he lost his job, all his income, everything. Turns out innocent. Aziz Ansari, somebody that was claimed all these things happened, that he did some inappropriate things, and he told his story, but he had already been canceled and nothing was come of it. President Biden. He had an accusation, and I forget the woman's name, and this was during the kind of the, very strong push for the Also Me movement. That was kind of like poo-pooed and dismissed and swept under the rug. So why has it come so strong for some people, but not others? Trump, they had a formal inquiry. Same thing with the Supreme Court Justice there, Kavanaugh. They have all these hearings, and then when they turn around and try to find evidence, the evidence is actually lacking. But it doesn't matter. Just the accusation is enough to do damage to these people. But again, when the accusation goes against somebody like President Biden, for example, oh, it's nothing, sweep it under the rug, don't listen. What about Don Lemon, the CNN news anchor that had accusations leveled against him? He worked all the way through to the court hearing. Now, again, he was found that, the case was thrown out, but he kept his job. So why is it some people, especially on the left, can keep their jobs through all these accusations, but other people can't? What's another one I was thinking of? Kevin Spacey. He's had like 3 or 4 accusations placed against him, and mysteriously all the people that accused him ended up dying. Wow, but he worked through all of them. So why do we have this unequal justice? The other one that I was going to do a story about this back when it happened, and I said, yeah, you know what? This is one story, but here it links in with other things. And I'm a Bills fan. Unfortunately, the Buffalo Bills didn't do very well against Cincy, but hey, Cincinnati played a good game, and we're out of the playoffs. But Buffalo Bills releases punter Matt Ariza after allegations that he did inappropriate. They just released him after the accusations came out. They said, oh, nope, he was a first-round draft pick, I think. They had him lined up for an income. Everything was going great, and they said, nope, we can't. And I'm not going to read through the story. But you guys get the idea. He was inappropriate with, actually, I mean, it was supposedly he and a group of other men forcefully pushed themselves onto a 17-year-old, and because of that, Bills cut him. And what happened? No, that was back in August, and here we are, August, September, October, November. So in 3 months after he got released from that story, what do we hear? Ex-Bills punter will not face charges. The district attorney's office said, ultimately, prosecutors determined it is clear the evidence does not support the filing of any charges, and there's no path to potential criminal conviction. Prosecutors can only file charges when they ethically believe they can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And again, I won't go into the whole story. If you want to read into it, look into it. It's kind of interesting. But they base this off. Let me find this part because this is key. They base the decision followed an investigation involving more than 35 witness interviews, evidence derived from 10 search warrants that included cell phone data and video of the night in question. Now, he had all that to defend him, but it wasn't enough. And so the Bills released him, and now he's hoping, and he's a good player. I'm sure he'll get drafted by somebody, but will it be for less money? Is he going to miss a season or two? And if you're a really good punter, I don't know, maybe you can make a few million a year. I don't know about you, but if you took away 1, 2, 3 million out of my pocket for a year or two over something that I didn't do, that's a problem. And so now, yes, a TV show is going to be basically ruined over this. And you know what? I hope he didn't do anything inappropriate. Or if he did, that they punish him to the full extent of the law. You guys know that. I'm a firm believer. If a guy does something bad, he should, pay his dues. But if he didn't, you know what? I hope he starts a new creation. I hope he does, and I hope he gets backers, and I hope he can do better than he was doing for Adult Swim. I'm so tired of this cancel culture. And they always say, well, it's not really cancel culture, it's consequence culture. But when do you get to prove the fact that you're innocent, that you didn't do it? How is he paying consequences for something he may not have even done? And maybe he did. Time will tell. But the point is, we're doing punishment, loss of income, then we're doing the actual official trial, and then based on guilt or innocence, then we move on. But here's the funny thing. Even after you're found innocent in many cases, people are, especially if social media and these companies get a little bit pressure, they say, you know what, this is a little hot. Like, we don't really want to get involved with you, and it ruins a man's life. Here's another instance of that. I hope he's found, either guilty or innocent based on what he did. But this time of judging people before they've even had their day in court this is going to be the downfall of society. It gives women and people that want to accuse somebody and just to do damage to them, just to ruin their income and ruin their name and drag them through the dirt, it gives them too much power. And maybe all this needs to stay on the hush-hush. If they do something wrong until their day in court, if they do something wrong beforehand, maybe it should be Jane Doe and John Doe. Maybe all this has to go under wraps because too many things are going public that turn out to not be true. And I think that's hurting innocent men and giving spiteful women too much power. We'll see if this is a case, but it's another show I really involved that's going away over the BS. Guys, if you like my work, join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. I've had some people complain and say, I went over there and you said you have this extra content on your videos. It's at the end of every video I do. So if I do a video for YouTube and I say, join me over there, it's at the end of that video over there. You can see it. You can see the extra content. No, you can't read the supporter forums. No, you can't make any posts. You have to be a supporter for that, but you do get the extra content. I'm sorry if there's any confusion over that, but the point is to get you to go over there and say, hey, I like this extra content for $4 or $5 a month. I'd really like to be part of this community with, 55,000 other members, and I don't even know how many supporters I have over there, and participate. I'm sorry, but if it's too much to ask for $4 or $5 a month so you can read and post over there, that's the whole reason you don't have commercials over there. It's the whole reason that you don't have censorship over there, because we're not pleasing advertisers. It's member funded. That's kind of how this thing works. So I hope there's no confusion over that. You're not going to get, all the posts and stuff, or all the threads and forums and stuff, but you at least get to see the extra content. So that's all I can say about that. Other than that, guys, we will see you in the next one.